What's up, guys? If you're anything like me, first part of spring you start watching videos and over and over and over, I don't know, 38, 48, 58 times in a row, you're gonna find lawn care professionals, novices, YouTubers, everyone out there will say that you don't need to push extreme growth in the early parts of spring. Therefore, you don't really need to be applying urea nitrogen, synthetic fertilizers. You don't need to be pushing fast relief stuff on the lawn. You're also going to hear over and over and over that by early April, most people should have already or should be getting ready to put down a lawn pre-emergent to stop weeds that are going to come up later in the spring and into the summer. You're also going to find an overwhelming number of pieces of advice out there to start cutting your lawn more often. I myself have multiple videos on this channel where I go into each of these three topics in depth. And if you are new to lawn care, I suggest you watch it. I'm going to link to my version of that at the very end of this video. But for the purpose of this video, I want to talk about the fourth thing, the thing that almost nobody gives a lot of time to and is very forgettable. It's the thing that most avid lawn care enthusiasts know, but most beginners don't ever think to consider. Let's talk about what fertilizers we do put down on the lawn in the early parts of spring. They tend to be slow release products, usually in the biosolid or the organic categories. And the more you get to know about fertilizers, the more you're going to come to realize that getting potassium into the lawn through organics and biosolids is actually pretty hard. Most people will go ahead and put down, even in the fast release water-soluble category, they'll start putting down lots of nitrogen into the lawn to push extreme growth. But a lot of the times, the majority of people really are just not getting potassium into the lawn. For me, I do mostly organic products in the lawn, so I have to go out of my way to get potassium. Potassium is very important for me in the spring because it sets me up for a better summer. Now, I know we just came out of winter, but summer is coming, and no matter where you live, you're going to have some stresses. Many cool season grass types are going to be stressed out by the heat of summer, and potassium is going to help the grass overcome the stress of heat and drought. As your kids start playing on the lawn more and more and more throughout the year, potassium is going to help that lawn bounce back, so you're not going to have as big of a problem with thinning grass because of your kids trampling all over your yard. And for those of you who live in areas where you're going to have fungal threats because of heat and humidity combined, having a well-nourished lawn, including potassium, is going to help your lawn resist the fungal and disease threats that come with late spring into summer and even in the early fall. Let me show you some very common products that I have in my garage. Many of these products are just easily found in local big box stores. Some are frequently purchased online. Many of them have very poor levels of potassium. Being a lawn care advocate of organic products, last year I used this Dr. Earth nitrogen fertilizer. Notice it's a 502. We do have some potassium in there. However, the potassium is roughly 40% of the nitrogen content, and I prefer roughly a 60% ratio. Here's a Jonathan Green organic product that I used last year. It's a 1001. That's 10% potassium to nitrogen. Let's take a look over here. Generic urea is 4600. If you go to a lawn and garden store, it's very easy to find just straight up urea on the store shelf. Same thing goes for ammonium sulfate, 2100. If you like the products that get shipped to your door from Sunday and companies like it, here you're looking at 2203, very low potassium. Straight ammonium sulfate, 2100. Plain Jane Milorganite is a 640. You're not getting potassium. If you go the liquid route, this is a product that I used a couple years ago, Simple Green, 2000. We do get some minors, but there's no potassium. Random big box stores are going to carry Scott's Natural Lawn Food. Scott's Natural is an 1122, again, low in potassium. Now, if you're going to go down the seeding and sodding route, you'll typically go for a starter fertilizer. I prefer starter fertilizers that are balanced, 12, 12, 12, 10, 10, 10, 15, 15, 15, whatever it is, I prefer them balanced. This works for seed starting and for sod installation, but for regular lawns, you're rarely going to need that much phosphorus going into the lawn. So, you're going to be cutting more frequently, yeah. You're going to be putting down a weed preventative product, yeah. You're going to be putting down, hopefully, a slow release nitrogen fertilizer, but you need potassium, so what are your options? This is what I recommend. Two main options for you to choose between. The first is to buy very specific products that are meant for this purpose. This is the Jonathan Green Green Up product. it is a 12-18-8. Now that's too much phosphorus, so I'm going to set this aside and say it's not going to be good for the normal homeowner just coming out of winter. This is going to be good for seeding and sodding. So that one's out. This is a product from Lawn Box. This is their Grass Genie product. This is a product that I can really get behind. It's a 1006. That gets to my 60% of the nitrogen threshold. As you use nitrogen, you need potassium. You also need some phosphorus, but not as much. This is an option. This is somewhat expensive, however. So I will leave a link to this in the description below, but what I actually recommend is purchasing a dedicated product for organic potassium. Now, potassium in its organic form, let's call it organic products, use sulfate of potash. You could use muriate of potash, which is a little bit cheaper, but it is not used in bags labeled as organic. So sulfate of potash is my choice. And that's what I'm going to be using this year. Last year, I had to do a catch-up with a box of langbeinite, which is fine. It's a heavy potassium product, but it's better used in the garden. It was very hard to spread on the lawn. So here it is, straight up sulfate of potash. This is an 0048. It's a granular product. You can see I haven't opened the bag yet. But basically what I'm going to be doing when I'm going to take any of these products, let's say for instance I'm using the Scott's Naturals Green Up product or Milorganite, which I tipped over, almost spilled. If I'm going to be putting that on my spring lawn, I'm going to be getting very small amounts of potassium. So I'm going to spread it with my spreader, and then I'm going to come back and add SOP, sulfate of potash, and then run around the yard one more time. But you don't need very much of this product, like physical pounds of this product to go into your spreader to spread it around, because it is so potent in potash, in potassium. Now, there are other sources for sulfate of potash. This is the one that I bought because I buy lots of different products to try them out. There's certainly going to be some products available on Amazon, in your local big box stores. You could probably go to some home garden supply stores and just buy straight up SOP. I'll leave a link to this particular product in the description below. But above all, make sure that you don't skimp on adding your potassium to your lawn care program. In the spring is excellent because we can prepare for the stresses of summer now. If you are new to lawn care, then a lot of what I'm saying right now is fairly advanced. So let's go back to those first 3 points that I kind of teased early on. Mowing, organics, what was the other one? Weed prevention. I've got a video right up here dedicated to those 3 topics. Make sure to watch that if you are new to lawn care, and keep this potassium in mind because I don't really talk about the potassium in this video up here, because keeping it simple is usually the best way to get people into this hobby.